Really nice to see a bunch of survivors here. And you wonder why are we here? And the reason we're here is very simple.
Not bad, not bad.
What's the date?
All of you went through interviews about your abuse. Some of you got compensation, many didn't get any compensation. And you look at the issues, the health issues with survivors, the issue of genocide, addictions, incarcerations, racism, trauma, and all the suicides that's happening across the country, not only in Saskatchewan and not only in Keeseekoose. Now it's affecting the intergenerational. There's many of them, and we're going to have one that's going to speak later on this morning. But I asked myself for the last 3 months, why are we doing this? I've asked my elders, we've done ceremonies. We've asked each other, we've had our elders meeting before we come to Regina. And the answer is, it's about individuals. It's about families. And it's about your community. We all talk about healing. And everybody uses the word healing, and we're sort of wearing the word out, healing. And we're talking about a different way of doing things. We're talking about a path forward. And many of you people are here today. And we go to many conferences. We go to many meetings. And we leave that meeting, we say, oh, it was a wonderful conference, wonderful meeting. And one of the problems we have is we do not do follow-up in regards to those wonderful meetings we attend, or those workshops. And you know, we like to criticize other conferences sometimes. But we don't look at ourselves of what do we do when we get home to assist other people that are hurting. There's a lot of pain within our communities. There's a lot of pain within our families. There's a lot of pain within our youth. And we attend funerals. Sometimes 2 or 3 funerals a week. And it's gotten to the point some of us don't even attend those funerals anymore. Because one of the things that's happening is we don't stop grieving. There's continuous grieving in our community. And we ask ourselves, how do we deal with it? We could blame the drugs. We could blame leadership. But as individuals and as families and as a community, we have to take responsibility. Because I'm sure there's relatives of yours that have attempted suicide. There are relatives of yours that are using drugs. We have spirituality in our communities. We have Christians in our communities. We have traditional people in our communities. And the problem with the issue of Christians and traditional ways is we talk about the differences. And you got to always remember there's only one creator in this world. Whether you're an Anglican, Catholic, you name all the religions. There's only one Creator. And within our communities, we have differences. We don't have differences. We talk about the differences. The Christians do this. The traditional people do this. But guess what? If we start talking about the similarities, we'd get along. Because the Christians pray for sick people. The traditional people do the same thing. The Christians sing and we sing. Prayers are sacred. Ours are sacred. And that's the division that's happening. Maybe not in our communities. I'm talking about our community. But you know, our Christians in our community, they have come a long ways. With us, the traditional people have come a long ways. We respect one another in moving forward. But I always say we could do better. And it hurts you when you hear the negativity in your community. And some of us like to jump on the bandwagon when there's negativity. We join in, we throw in a line or two to assist the person that's talking about the negative stuff. I got great-grandchildren, I got 7 of them. 15 grandchildren. 5 daughters. There's 15 brothers and sisters in my family, and there's only 3 of us left. And your family disappears just like that. It's painful. Just like our mom. She was sexually abused, physically abused. And I share with you, it was hard for her to say I love you to myself and to my brothers and my sisters. I don't know if all of you know my brother Aubrey. His nickname was Sockeye. He used to always bug my mother, love you, Mom, and my mom would never answer. But one day, he went to the hospital, love you, Mom, I really love you. And my mom, I love you too. Get out of here, I want to see you. But that is Aubrey. And it is a lot of pain for my mother, my siblings. When I talk about my family, my sisters, little sisters flash in front of me, the abuse that they went through. Even my brothers. We lost a sister 45 years ago. We just found her 6 months ago. And she's 50 years old. You know what's going on today? Our children are being taken away. Remember years ago from Indian Affairs and Government? Now today, our own Indian institutions are taking our children away. And I put a warning out there. There's going to be lawsuits galore when these kids turn 18 against communities, against leadership. And that's one of the things that's happening. There's a lot of kids that aren't registered and they belong to your community. And the government tells us it takes 2 years to register your kid. The time frame. My sister's 50 years old. It's not her fault she wasn't registered. She was taken away from the goddamn Indian Child and Family Services out of Winnipeg. Now we try and register her. It'll take 2 years. We as community members, our leadership have to take responsibility and take on the department. Why listen to them? The hell with their process. It's all colonized. We do what we want to do. Look at Jim Sinclair. That man fought for his rights, for his people. And you know what? The day after that speech, he lost all his funding. There's consequences when you tell the truth. It's like in your community, when you tell the truth, you get criticized. Jim Sinclair's a good example. He told the truth what has happened with the provinces of this country to the Prime Minister. And that's why he got denied. He got criticized. All the Métis nations across Canada lost all their funding. Grant Devine cut him off the next day he got home from Ottawa. So there is consequences for telling the truth. My GPR team, my research team, have found many materials and information. In regards to the sanatoriums, tuberculosis, where are those children? Where are they buried? Where are the records? The Catholic schools, where are your records? We're still not getting the full records. Where's our headstones? Where do headstones disappear? Does the UFOs come and pick them up? All our headstones we lost. We had our chief's headstone there last fall. We went there this spring, it's gone. Our chief of our community, Chief Keeseekoose. And it's happening across the country. Why is it happening? Who's doing it? Why is it happening? The research that we're finding are facts, letters to the government, letters from the nuns. A lot of information. In Canada, there's a bunch of people living in denial, criticizing us that there's no bodies there. As far as I'm concerned, us as Indian people, we got our own inherent rights. An inherent rights process that comes from the Creator. Enigma, kinawayaman no, Anisha Petoyo, Miwe Poginani, Zigonan, Onakiniwin, Gigikwin, Zigomino is Sichigivina. I just said our pipes was given to us, our directions, our teachings, our ceremonies. All of you sitting here, think about it, of your ancestors. How did they practice prayer? Think about it. Today, hardly anybody practicing the inherent right process that was given to us by the Creator through through a spiritual process. And it's been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It hasn't disappeared in Keeseekoose. We're still practicing it. The languages are there. The ceremonies are there. Really think about it. About your ancestors. Your great-great-grandfather. How did they pray? Roger Cody was a 93-year-old man. I asked him, how come things aren't going right? Why are we? Pastor Sept, man, we're getting whipped because we're not doing right. We're not living right. We're not treating each other with respect. We got to be humble with one another, love one another, care for one another, and believe one another of a path forward as a family, as a community. When you go home from here, we have to set a path for friends of ours, for families, and for our community. Because if we don't, we're going to destruction. And you could blame government all you want, you could blame the churches all you want. The whole issue of genocide, the Pope, when he left Canada, he said it was genocide, what was done to Indian children in Canada and North America. A month after that, it went to the House of Commons. Every party member voted 100% and declared it genocide. But I asked the question, what's the next steps? What are you going to do about it? If it is genocide for Ukrainians, if it is genocide for another party, the government would jump on it. But they sure don't touch the genocide of Aboriginal and Indian people across this country. And that's not fair, and that's not right. So I share that issue about genocide. And that education has to go to our young people. So with that, my friends, I got a written speech, but I didn't even look at it or read it. But I feel my message to you, it's about truth. Look at the day school situation. Day scholar issue. The denial that day scholars are getting. That's not right. When they put it out there, they told us. You just write your story and that's it. The government of this country is not telling the truth about the file on residential schools. And I'm not going to put on any pressure on any speaker, but come up here and tell the truth. If you feel there's wrong going on within the system, tell us. Share it with us. Because that's what it's all about. Truth will set you free, they tell me. Half-truths will drag you on and on and on. So my dear friends, I share that with you. And I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. We never ever figured we'd pull this off. Our chief in council took a chance on us. And there's not one penny spent by our band to set this up. All sponsors. And all the sponsors we have, they believe in survivors. They understand survivors. That's why we got sponsors. So my dear friends, take in the conference. And we want survivors to participate. We want dialogue. What are your concerns and issues? Some of you might have not shared your story. Some of you might never share their story, like many of ours, survivors across the country who passed on and never got a chance to share their story. So I got Cuthbert with me here. He's going to speak the language about some of the teachings within our culture and our traditions. We're struggling to try and get support of that within our own community. We got about 16 people in our community that could speak the language fluently. We got about 8, 9 guys that run the ceremonies. But I'll share something with you. When we have our Sundance, we have 300 to 500 people at those Sundances. So the hunger is there, they want to learn. So Cuthbert is going to do a brief presentation in our language, and I got my good friend George Keeseekoose, who's going to interpret in English what Cuthbert is going to share with you. So with that, my dear friends,